My name is Tim Spuck. I'm the Director of Education and Public Engagement at Associated Universities Incorporated here in the United States, centered in Washington, D.C. We manage the radio astronomy observatories for the U.S. federal government. As far as my connection with the OAD, the AUI, in collaboration with ARA and Adler Planetarium and GLAS Education, is co-hosting the North American Regional Office of Astronomy for Development. Yeah, I think that's a great question. I remember when I first started hearing about the OAD, 5 years ago or so. Kevin, I recall that you came to the United States and we had met about the OAD. And the concept, I think, is really important as we move forward. When we think about the world and the way the globe is connected through international economies, the fact that even to do great work to support those who are most in need, it requires finances, and it requires a sustainable model. And so I think thinking about astronomy in the context of development, both can help us to generate the necessary revenue to actually implement innovative projects that help those who are most in need. But beyond that, I think that it's the idea that if we are using astronomy for development, by its very nature, we are creating a sustainable model, so that if we are promoting economic development, what we're doing is we're creating the financial infrastructure to keep efforts and initiatives going that support those who are most in need. I think if we're talking about, educational development, or using astronomy to advance individuals' education. We know that education is one of the great equalizers. Those who are knowledge holders are individuals who tend to improve the economic infrastructure for a region or for a country. So I think that that's, as we think about the use of astronomy for development, what most inspires me, what most is something that I'm most interested in, is the fact that I've grown up and I've had this passion for astronomy all my life. Since probably I was age 6 or 7, my dad took me out and showed me the stars and pointed out where Venus was, and just, it just fascinated me. And so I've had that passion, but what the OAD does is it produces a way to actually inspire, take that passion and inspire others around the world in a way that can be sustainable long term. It's not just a one-hit sort of deal where we're going to do this one program and make these kids aware of astronomy and inspire them, and then the program is going to end. Now, I think that thinking of astronomy in the context of development, or thinking about how do we use astronomy for development, actually, for me, makes me think that I have this passion and this inspiration that has come from astronomy, and that is something that can now be shared or can be shared in a more sustainable way. And so I think that's the piece of astronomy for development that is most exciting to me. Well, there is one that comes to mind immediately, and it's it happened, about probably 18 months ago or so. The OAD has funded projects in Nigeria supporting the use of astronomy to inspire women and girls and young children who are in IDP camps in Nigeria, which are in internally displaced persons camps. And so I had made a stop in Nigeria because AUI is in the process of working with the Nigerian Space Research and Development Agency, and so we're looking at some collaborations there. And Olayinka took me out to one of the schools that they work with, to where they take astronomy to these individuals, and just experiencing 2,000 kids, little kids from who were maybe 6 years old on through maybe 17, 18 years old, and just seeing their faces as they crowded around these telescopes to basically get a glimpse of the sun was just incredibly powerful. And then hearing more about what's happening in Nigeria with the work that's being done with the IDP camps that's supported by the OAD, it really just drove home to me this power of astronomy to inspire, to make people think outside themselves, and to really serve as the foundation for the dreams and aspirations of so many young children around the world. And I think that is, that's something that is incredibly important, because if we don't have the right attitudes in kids, if we're not building the ideas within them that they are part of this magnificent universe, and that they begin, that they need to be able to see themselves as not only part of this magnificent universe, but also to be able to see themselves as being contributors to society more broadly. And I think that that experience in Nigeria was just was very profound for me, in just hearing from these children, talking to them, seeing the excitement that they had, because this was something that was such a rare opportunity. And I think sometimes for us, and for me now, working and living around these telescopes or around the organizations that manage them, for me, these experiences, they kind of become normalized. But to be able to understand that for so many others around the world, this is anything but normal. And so that, I think, is something that inspired me, is to just see how astronomy is being used in other parts of the world, where we have where there is a great need, and it is actually changing the minds and hearts and helping kids believe that they can be part of something greater. So I think that in the moving forward in the future, there is, of course, great need around the world, and we can begin to think about, again, the use of astronomy to address some of the most profound issues facing society today. Thinking more about the use of astronomy to help individuals understand climate change, for example. When we think about, for example, how critically important the electromagnetic spectrum is, and understanding how energy is absorbed and then re-emitted in astronomy, that's something that's, for example, that's a critical concept. When we look at climate science and we want to understand global warming on Earth, It's very similar concepts. And so we can really be teaching climate change and helping individuals, whether they're children or adults, we can actually help them to understand climate change and the ideas and concepts behind climate change. We can help them understand that through astronomy. And we can also help them understand, for example, how do we use astronomy to predict what it's going to be like on Earth? You know, we have other planets, we have Mars, we have Venus, we have other exoplanets. And so really by understanding these other worlds in the universe, we can actually get a deeper understanding of climate science and climate change here at home. And I do think, you know, that's critically important, because if we do not, as a whole, as a globe, address the issues around climate change, we will all suffer immensely, and we may end up losing humanity as we know it. So I think that's one critical piece. I think the other very powerful piece for where the OAD can do significant work is showing how astronomy can be used to spark small business and small local entrepreneurs. So whether it's in the area of astrotourism, or if it's in the area of building sensors or you know, inventing and building devices that actually improve astronomy, whether it's research or the amateur astronomy community. So this is a way where again, spurring small business in areas of high need. This is a rich area where I see the OAD advancing in the future. And finally, the third piece of this, where I see the OAD playing a significant role in the future, is science for diplomacy, or astronomy for diplomacy. I think that we, as we look around the world today, we are a globalized society. That's a reality, and we are not going to turn back from that. However, there is a significant portions of the populations in various countries and countries themselves where we are seeing opposition to this idea that we are one. You know, we all share one planet. What happens in one country impacts another country. And if we can use astronomy to connect individuals across countries and to connect individuals around the world, and we can use then astronomy as a tool for international diplomacy, we can help change the hearts and minds of individuals, and we can build a better, more inclusive global community that is actually supportive of each other, and as a result, beneficial to everybody on the planet. And so I think that, you know, those three areas provide very rich opportunities for the OAD to advance, to build a stronger network, but most importantly, to impact and to positively affect some of the greatest challenges that we are facing today as a society. I think that the OAD and the fact that the International Astronomical Union recognizes the benefits of such an office, I think says a lot about the organization itself, in that you know, there is not just this commitment to advance astronomy and to advance astronomy research, but rather to advance astronomy infrastructure and the critical awareness that part of the key part of that infrastructure is people. It's us. And, without working across cultures and without working with diverse individuals and bringing them together for the benefit of all is actually a critical piece of advancing the science or advancing a discipline that we are all very passionate about, that we all love a great deal. And, we could, be spending all of our time and resources in building the next big telescope or the next big instrument. But you know what? If we don't have a society that's supportive of astronomy, if we're not reaching in and harvesting the talent that is often locked behind closed doors with traditionally underrepresented groups in STEM and astronomy, then we are not going to have as strong of a discipline as what we can. And people won't care about the big fancy telescopes that you're building if they do not see themselves as part of the equation and as a critical part of the equation. So I really want to thank the IAU, the OAD for the work that it's doing, because I think it is truly a recognition of how important people are, and all people are, in the equation of astronomy.